Hello and welcome back to Blendine. Today we're going to be talking about making awesome explosions with Blender. Now, if you've ever tried to make explosions with Blender in the past, you'll know that its current system, Mantaflow, is slow. Like, really slow. And it also doesn't often provide the results we want. So it turns out with Blender 2.83, you can import ready-made simulations called OpenVDB format. If you don't know what OpenVDB is, it's basically VDB that's open. Yeah, you're welcome. So basically there's this company, EmberGen, and they do OpenVDBs. We're just going to check the price. $239 a year! But don't worry guys, I'm not going to make you spend $300. You're using Blender, so, you know, you just want to go up to the top and click download and free VDB examples, and there are about 9 simulations you can download, and they are all absolutely awesome, where you don't even really need to do anything to them. So that's really cool. So yeah, I'm just going to go and select the gasoline explosion, and that's quite big, so I will be back in a minute. See you guys later. Okay, so we are in Blender now. We just want to delete everything. And you want to go to the top where it says add volumes, which is new, import OpenVDB, and select all of your VDB sequences. They're like a PNG sequence, there's numbers of them. Now just scale it down because it will be really, really big, and reposition it to where you want. You can just move it around, rotate it, whatever you want. Just change the cycles. Alright, so you want to go ahead and jump into render view, and you can already see it's looking mighty fine, and we haven't even touched it yet. So jump into shader editor and hit new material. It'll add a principal volume, and you don't want to touch any of that. What you want to go over is the little new section it's added on the side called volumes, and you can see there's density, flames, and temperature. And these are just different parts of the mesh, basically, that exported with the OpenVDB. But we don't really need to know all this technical stuff. All we need to know is set temperature attribute to flames instead. And basically, this will take the flames part of the mesh. And now what you want to do is you want to make black body intensity 1 and temperature take it to 5,000 at least. And you'll see straight away it looks amazing. Like, look at this, with absolutely no work at all. We've got a really cool looking explosion. And you can just alter these settings, like change the color of the smoke, like I'm doing here. You can make it like darker, lighter. You can even change the total color of it in general. Density is very important to change. I would set it to at least 2, but depending on how big it is, because then volumetrics change. You can also change the temperature multiplier, which is the temperature. The higher that is, the hotter the flames are. So you'll see in a minute I change it higher and it looks like a completely different explosion. And that's a really cool thing about this. It's so dynamic. You can add in a camera and just render this and it looks amazing. Obviously, maybe add in a HDRI, some other objects. In a minute I will show you an example of what I'm using this exact tactic for. You can just go ahead and hit render here. But there's so much other things you can do with this explosion, like altering the material. One more thing, you can't select it from the viewport, so you have to select it from the outliner. So I'm going to now go ahead and change a few more of these settings. So feel free to follow along. As you can see here, I'm changing the color of the smoke to anything I want it to be, and it looks super, super cool. You can practically do anything you want with this, and it's totally up to your creativity, and you can do this with practically any OpenVDB. They all have some different attributes, but if you set it, for example, quite dark like me, then you can like higher the temperature, and you know, it looks a lot hotter and flamier. So that's just like a really cool way, and this has created a really cool explosion like really quickly with Blender, and rendering in Blender is brilliant as well. It doesn't take quite as long as you'd think it would. It's still volumetric, so it's not going to render particularly fast, but it's really good. Here you can see an animation I'm using it for. This will be out on my Instagram, and please like and subscribe to the Blendine channel for more tutorials.